Hello, YouTubers, friends, compatriots, bootlickers, shills, dust, lice, hearts, spasms, vassals. I'm a useful idiot, and I was struck by a figure I saw watching a broadcast of a football game, and it said that the game was being broadcast to military personnel across the globe in 175 countries. And I'm sure you're thinking the same thing I am, or at least I hope you are, that how could that be? We have some form of military in 175 countries in the world. And, of course, I do understand that when they say there's military in 175 countries in the world, that can be operating in any kind of capacity, including charity work and Corps of Engineers. So I don't want to blow this out of proportion. I was just struck by the number, because that means that the United States has military in 175 out of roughly 193 countries in the world. So that would mean that U.S. military are in most countries in the world, which would seem to indicate that we are on pretty good relations, or some kind of relations, or a combative relationship with all of these countries in the world. And I was just struck by that. I did a video recently about how we actually have active military of one sort or another in 120 countries in the world, but this ups the ante by another 55, so that's considerable. And without putting any judgment on it, because I'm a realist, I'm a pragmatist, and I could certainly argue that there's a lot of cases where the American presence globally gets a bad rap, and deservedly so, but there's other situations, I'm sure, where they function quite admirably and add a lot to the world. So the fact that we're in 175 countries in the world would suggest that we keep our eyes and ears and minds open when we hear discussions about who is provocative and who is not. Of course, China and Russia would see these moves by the United States to spread globally and pretty much surround them and get heavily involved in countries right on their borders, including moving NATO and the UN and all forms of allies, getting closer and closer to those two countries. So this idea that we feel they may be a threat because they may expand certainly is ridiculous at this point. So, and I also would suggest that the fact that we're in 175 countries in the world would mean that we are an empire. And, most Americans, if they don't see that already, need to see that. The America is now the empire. And that's, once again, not meaning to put any judgment on it, just trying to be realistic about who the provocateurs are and who the threat is. I pretty much am one of few who sees that I think the geopolitical game is to isolate Russia and China and then choke them off economically. But of course, there's a lot of forces in play in the world. We'll see how this works out. I know that China is getting more aggressive about perhaps marketing a gold-backed currency, and America could lose its reserve currency status. So this could obviously cause some frictions with unknown consequences at this point. And I think there's potential showdowns with Russia as we get more and more involved in other countries around their border, including all the Islamic countries in the southern breakaway regions north of Afghanistan and that region. So once again, we will be working with some radical Islamic elements all through that region, including up in that region, and using them for useful idiots. So anyway, just food for thought. I was struck by that this commercial said that we have U.S. military that are being broadcast this football game in 175 countries in the world. Of course, that could even just be embassy guards. Well, except for Benghazi, of course. I'm a useful idiot. Don't you be one too.